What I want to underscore from my previous discussion thus far is that if we genuinely allow for the difference and otherness that every child brings into the world, then we must take the third position on the idea of the strange, namely that of dialogic intertwinedness. On this view, both the teacher and the child are connected to a world filled with meaning. For genuine understanding to occur and for the child to be co-constructor of the world, the child's perspective cannot be repressed for the sake of becoming adult-like. But it can also not be made entirely separate in the case of extreme child-centeredness. So we can see how the three positions match onto common positions taken up in the practice of teaching. So for example, we might consider the idea of appropriation of the strange as a kind of teaching as imposing the view of what is by the society or by the teacher herself considered to be truth, considered to be knowledge, and imposing that onto the child where they don't have the possibility of questioning it. The second idea of dispropriation may be considered if we think about the teaching as exposing. So again, this is my translation, but we might think of an extreme child-centered situation where the teacher is relegated to a mere observer and the child has control of the situation. And so some, have interpreted people like Piaget or Dewey that way. I'm not sure if that's a correct, well, for Dewey, it's not a correct interpretation. But in practice, this movement of child-centeredness has said, okay, let the child be, and the person who's the adult with certain kinds of knowledge has to step back. So I'm calling this teaching as exposing because the child is exposed to and left vulnerable to the world. And to me, the pedagogical responsibility is not taken into consideration. So in both of those cases, the first two, the strangeness of the child disappears and is silenced. In the one case, it's overridden by the adults. And in the other case, it's left to be as if for its own sake, but it's not given voice insofar as the child is not helped to show how his or her questions, ideas, confrontations, values, and confusions relate to the world she's been born into. So if we remember back again to the video at the beginning with the teacher Noelle, we could see how she was trying to give voice to the students' confusions and difficulties and creating that space where they didn't hide. So we'll come back to that idea again. So the third connection to the strange that I'm considering valid pedagogically and educationally is the teacher-child relation through dialogic intertwinedness. Teaching is seen here as creating a space for the child's co-construction of the world. And this means allowing for protest, so to speak, for the child to reject what they're being told, to ask questions, to question what they are being told to do, or to think about, or even the context that they're being placed into. And so this can cause an interruption in the teacher's experience, but one that I think is meaningful for how the educational space is defined. So on this concept, Meyer-Drava and Waldenfels talk about the validity of this context because the educator and the child are both reaching for a common world. And the fact that they may not be interpreting this world in the same way becomes a secondary point. So the reaching and the striving to understand each other becomes what's valued and significant in the educational context. So understanding between child and adult is in motion in this sense. It's not static and it's not fixed, and it's growing.